If you're a person with varied interests in life, then you might have heard this at least once in your life. That you can't be successful by doing multiple things. That you need to focus on one area, build deep expertise in it, and stick to it for your entire career. And there's actually a famous quote for this: Jack of all, master of none. Sounds familiar? When you were in school, people might have assumed or told you that having multiple interests is a lack of focus. At work, this might have been seen as a lack of specialized expertise or a scattered skill set. And over time, many people started believing in this idea that if they are interested in a lot of things, something must be terribly wrong, and they need to find one proper direction for themselves. But what if I tell you that this very thing for which people underestimated you or discouraged you will actually become one of your biggest advantage, especially in this AI-driven world? As AI takes up much of the execution-heavy work, the advantage is shifting away from what you can do to how you think, connect, and judge across domains. And that's exactly where people with multiple interests, or this jack of all trades person, will be a game changer. So in this video, I want to explore a different question. Not whether having multiple interests is good or bad, but why the M-shaped future may be one of the most practical advantages in an AI-driven world, and how people can use it instead of being confused by it. Let's begin. Let's start with what's obviously changing around us. AI is obviously getting very good at executing clearly defined tasks. Whether it's writing a code, generating content, or analyzing data. These things are increasingly automated today. But many of the problems that people are actually paid to solve today do not sit inside one domain. Let's try to understand this with an example. Imagine a company rolling out an AI customer support chatbot. From a technical point of view, it works well. Response time drops, costs go down, and efficiency improves. But at some point, customers start getting frustrated when the system cannot handle slightly unusual or complex requests, and the conversations with the chatbot start going into loops. And that's when people's confidence in the experience starts to drop. But the problem is not the AI itself. It's that probably not enough attention was paid to how this would feel on the user side. Now think about sustainability inside a business. A leadership team decides to switch to eco-friendly packaging. On paper, it's absolutely the right move. But the change comes with trade-offs that need to be managed carefully. Costs will increase, making price conversations harder for sales team to justify. And operations will slow down temporarily as suppliers adjust to new materials and processes. If the only lens in the room is environmental science, implementation struggles. If the only lens is cost, then the planet suffers. The decision works best when someone understands environmental impact, business incentives, and human behavior at the same time. Now let's take one more example. Think about AI-based hiring tools. They are introduced to reduce bias and speed up recruitment. But as they are deployed, new questions emerge around perceived fairness for candidates, clarity for managers, and accountability for legal teams. Again, the tool works technically. What's missing is someone who can connect data, ethics, law, and human perception. And that's exactly where the M-shaped advantage really becomes useful. Not someone who tries to do everything, but someone who can stand between domains and say, technically this works, but here's what the system doesn't account for when humans interact with it. Now let's talk about why this matters economically. When the tools, processes, and expectations of roles stay the same for years, deep specialization does make sense. In a job market that doesn't change much, being very good at one specific task is often more than enough. But in today's rapidly evolving AI-driven world, people whose identity is tied to one narrow function are at a higher risk. People with integrated skill sets tend to move differently. They shift roles or they get repositioned instead of being replaced. What's interesting is that their advantage does not come from doing more work. It comes from the ability to say, I understand how this connects to that, at exactly the moment where others are still thinking in silos. Over time, that ability becomes more valuable because organizations consistently need people who can make sense of complexity. There's also a personal side to this. Having multiple interests does not just create opportunity, it also creates tension. You can struggle to structure how your different interests fit together. You can constantly question whether you're doing the right thing. You might look at people who seem very sure of their path and wonder if you're falling behind. From a consciousness perspective, this is not a lack of discipline. It's a lack of integration. When interests overlap each other without you really knowing about how they fit together, they start pulling you in different directions. But when you do understand how they connect and feed each other, it doesn't just create clarity, it also creates a unique path for you. This is especially important now. As AI increases our capacity to act and sustainability demands more thoughtful decisions, the real challenge is not just speed or intelligence, it's judgment. Being able to hold complexity without rushing to simple answers becomes a moral skill, not just a cognitive one. The future will not just reward capability, it will increasingly reward how morally aware you are while being capable. So time to look at all the 3 P's together. Practically, people who can connect across domains will have an edge going forward. Profitably, stability today comes from being adaptable across multiple domains, not just having expertise in one. Purposefully, integration requires reflection, responsibility, and self-awareness. So when I say that having multiple interests can be an advantage, this is what I actually mean. It's not about doing everything. It's about understanding how what you already know fits together and using that to make better decisions. And in a world shaped by AI and unstable systems, that kind of clarity will be really valuable. As always, the research studies used in this video are linked down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep building a better you.